Hi there, fellow Springfieldians, and welcome back to Simpsons Theory. So it was the biggest story of 1995. Millions of viewers flocked to their TV screens to see the result, a week after the most hated man was shot, all wanting the answer to the golden question: who shot Mr. Burns? Maggie, of course, silly. The youngest Simpson who can't form more than 2 words but can shoot an, albeit weak, but fully grown adult. Are we going to take this silly conclusion as fact and forget? No. Roll out the theory. If you are new to this channel, then please hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps me out. Now back to the video. On today's episode, we're going to be discussing a very recent theory that has been circulating worldwide. The legendary Reddit commenter, Games_of_Jabrones, wrote something that was going to take the world back to 1995. His actions even caused the makers of The Simpsons to revisit 25-year-old scripts and united us all to concentrate on the important matter of hand once more. If you don't know what everyone's been talking about, then let us take you down a magical little rabbit hole. We have added in our own findings to support this argument, which is sure to convince even the most scrutinising Simpsons skeptics. Comic book guy, I'm looking at you. Now, if we freeze this moment right here, does Krusty look any different to you? Get a good look into this character. Upon closer inspection, you will find that it is in fact Homer Simpson, dressed up as Krusty the Clown. Now, how do we know that it was really Homer and not Krusty? Well, they do look very similar already, with their dome heads and 5 o'clock shadows, but there are of course some differences. There's the nose for one. Krusty has a round red nose, while Homer has a long protruding schnoz. Very typical for clowns vs humans. And Krusty has bags under his eyes, whereas Homer does not. That's probably down to all the Sunday mornings where he's wrapped up in bed like a cinnamon bun. Besides our existing proof that Homer and Krusty look incredibly similar when dressed identically, we can see that even though he's dressed like Krusty, he still can't stand everyone's favourite Christian Ned Flanders. Look at the way Homer is glancing suspiciously at Ned when the town are sizing each other up. You could cut that tension with a knife. Also, during the same episode, we see Krusty returning to Springfield from a break in Reno, wearing totally different clothes. Would he really have journeyed back home to change into his own gear and then come back to the same spot? He was on holiday. No clowning around today. So the theory goes, Homer disguised himself as Krusty, either shot Mr. Burns himself or was beaten to the punch by his daughter Maggie. But if he succeeded in killing Mr. Burns as Krusty, that would mean that the clown would take the fall and get arrested, all whilst no one suspects Dum Dum Homer. Homer may have been inspired when he saw Sideshow Bob do the same thing only a couple of years before. In the episode Krusty Gets Busted, Sideshow Bob impersonates Krusty during a Quickie Mart armed robbery. So Homer builds up a little plan to succeed. In season 6's Homie the Clown, Homer signs up to Krusty's clown school, where he learns to impersonate the famous clown to the point that the entire town couldn't differentiate between the two. During the episode, we are shown that Homer is not adverse to taking advantage of impersonating Krusty by getting free dinners, getting out of parking tickets, and even trying to get a free car. And as we know, Mr. Burns was shot at the end of season 6, well after Homer had mastered the art of looking, sounding, and acting like Krusty. So, how do we explain that Mr. Burns actually claims that Maggie shot him? There are many possible reasons. One is that he's so old, his memory has faltered and mixes reality with fantasy, or he forgets altogether. He forgot that he ran over Bart and couldn't remember Marge painting him in the nude, and not to mention that he continually forgets Homer's name, which, let us not forget, was Homer's motive for the murder. If all that doesn't seem plausible to you, and a bit of a reach, then may I remind you that Homer even admits it himself. In season 18, Homer admits to shooting Mr. Burns and letting Maggie take the blame, and of course she couldn't say otherwise. There was Simpsons DNA on the gun after all. Upon hearing these theories, one of the Simpsons writers, Bill Oakley, had had enough. He wanted to put these theories to bed. He posted up original notes for the episode on Twitter, his argument being that in no way do they mention that Homer should be in the scene dressed as Krusty. In fact, he explicitly mentions that when finding Mr. Burns' body, Homer should not be in the scene at all. However, this theory remains inconclusive as he does not answer the distinct illustration of Homer dressed as Krusty. He instead passes the torch over to Jeff Lynch, former animator and director of The Simpsons, But Lynch is yet to comment. What are they hiding? Are they trying to distract us from the fact that America's most loved little idiot could possibly be the mastermind behind Mr. Burns' almost murder? What do you think to this theory? Do you think that Homer shot Mr. Burns? Let us know your theories in the comments below. I would like to say a big thank you to our newest Flying Hellfish Patreon, James Whitehead. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. If you would like to support this little yellow channel and to see your name featured in the credits, then check out my Patreon in the description below.